Next, we're going to have optimized simulation.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shafa Jafer. I'm an assistant professor in software engineering in Embry-Riddle. My main research area is in modeling simulation, which is why got me very excited about optimizing simulation. So this is task 12. I'm also working with a research team from Embry-Riddle composed of a number of graduate students, master's and PhD in software engineering. So basically right now we don't have an official industry partner, but we have started communicating with a large number of industry partners to the COE, and we have received a really overwhelming support from them. And the amount of information they have shared and their willingness to help and be part of the project is really amazing. So just to give you a little bit of background about the project, the description, outcomes, and some information about basically logistics. So this task involves studying how the FAA is currently using simulation-based training, particularly at the FAA Academy for training ATC controllers. So what we're trying to investigate is what are some areas where simulation is currently used at the Academy and also other training facilities. In particular, we want to also report on the potential return of investment on better and more utilization of simulation-based training. We are also looking into how vendors and industry partners and basically technology providers can keep up with the real-world technology growth and how they can make sure that the simulation technologies are current and are synced with what the trainees will see eventually after they graduate from the academy. Our reference material are the JO documents 3022 and 3057. The duration of this project is 18 months, and our sponsor is Mark Folsom, and technical monitor Hezekiah Braxton. So in order to conduct this project, we are looking into achieving the following 5 objectives. I'm going to catch details on each of the objectives in the next couple of slides. But briefly, just to let you know what the objectives are. So number 1, as many of the other projects, we need to conduct a thorough literature survey on the current state of FAA in using simulation-based training. The second objective is investigating how the FAA can benefit from simulation-based training versus the live training, and what are the return on investment, and basically conduct some cost-benefit analysis in this area. The third objective is utilizing simulation-based training in the curriculum development, so considering which courses currently or which training materials are currently using simulation-based training, and if there are any future areas, what are they and how that would be integrated and implemented in the curriculum. The fourth objective is keeping up the simulation technologies with real-world live devices. And basically what we want to do is come up with, suggest a process that can be used by vendors and industry partners where they can keep up their simulation technologies with real-world devices. And number 5 objective is basically updating current courses and also proposing a number of new courses in areas where simulation can be best utilized. So in each of the objectives, in order to achieve the goals, we have a number of activities, the approach we're going to be conducting that task, and the outcome, or basically what will be delivered. So this is what I'm going to cover next. So for the first one, literature survey. So for this one, we're conducting a lot of phone interviews and questionnaire with industry partners. We are also planning to visit the FAA Academy tomorrow. So that's exciting, and we had to change our flights, but that's okay. At least we don't have to make a second trip. So for this one, besides conducting reviews, conducting questionnaire and interviews with the FAA Academy, we're also looking into talking to instructors and trainers at different training facilities. We have a great ATC folks in Embry-Riddle, so that they're going to be our subject matter experts. And we're also looking into conducting, lots of studies with other folks who are educators in this area. So the outcome of this task, at the end, we're going to deliver a report that studies basically how currently FAA is using simulation-based training for the ATC. For the second objective, so the benefits and potential return on investment of using simulation versus live training. Again, this particular subtask requires a lot of interviewing and talking to a lot of folks at the academy, at the training centers, and around the nation, at the airports. Also, the majority of the core partners of COE, so talking to all different types of aeronautics and ATC training facilities. What we want to do is basically find out what are the current areas that FAA is using sim-based technologies for training, and also talking to students and trainees and see where do they want to see more use of technology and more use of, sim-based for their trainings, and not really using just the tabletops or the traditional presenter and, paper and those kind of old school material. So for this task, we are going to conduct a number of surveys and interviews with instructors at, as I said, various institutions and training facilities. Particularly, our target number one is the FAA Academy. At the end of this subtask, we're going to hand over a research document that basically presents the benefits and cost-benefit analysis and return of investment in using simulation for FAA. For our third objective, which is very important in getting more and more industry partners collaborating with us on this particular subtask. And the reason is that in order to make sure that basically we are using state-of-the-art sim technologies, it's very important to find out how industry partners and how vendors are basically providing products in that area, and what is their basically stakes in coping and basically collaborating with FAA and providing sim-based technologies. So as I mentioned, majority of this project will be conducting surveys, interviews, talking to peoples and stakeholders, which is mostly the case with every other project. So in order to do that, what we are planning to do is basically after those interviews, we want to find out what is the best way to utilize sim-based training in the current curriculum. So we're going to be looking at the current curriculum that's delivered at the FAA Academy and other training centers. We will be closely studying every course objectives and all the course contents, and see what are some areas that we can maybe update some of the currently used sim-based technologies, or even coming up with areas where just traditional and classical educational models have been used. So at the end of this task, we will have a summary report to discuss how we can utilize more and better and more effective way of basically implementing sim-based technologies. For objective number 4, this particular task also involves a lot of collaboration and coordination with industry partners, because they are the product deliverers, and they are the people who actually deliver those products and create those products. So what we want to really come up with is a study that recommends to the FAA and also industry partners what is the best way, or what is the process to make sure that all the new technologies that are used currently in the towers or at the actual airports are kept synced with the sim-based technologies that are used in training centers and at the academy, because maybe some of them are outdated, or maybe some of them do not really reflect the real world. So the main goal of this subtask is to basically to make sure that we don't run into negative training, which is basically having the students seeing a whole different configurations and user interface at the device levels, and then once they graduate, when they go to the actual field and they get on the actual job, they see a totally different technology, which could be much more advanced than what they have been introduced to and what they have exercised at the academy. So at the end of this subtask, we will have a report that will propose our process in keeping up to date and keeping in sync both sim-based technologies and also the real-world devices. So heavily we're relying on industry partners on this task. And then finally, our number five objective is proposing new curriculum where it's not really a new curriculum, but basically a more enhanced and updated curriculum that focuses a lot on SIM-based technologies and on modern educational delivery methods. So as I said, after talking to the FAA Academy, looking at their course catalogs and talking to their instructors and also the training facilities, we want to come up with an updated list of courses where simulation can be used on more than one objectives for the course, as well as coming up with a whole new set of courses where currently no simulation at all is used. So this is going to be the objective of this, the goal of this objective, and as I said at the end, all of the findings will be reported in a summary report. So briefly going over milestones and schedule, as I said, the project is 18 months. We have already started and our kickoff date was November 1st. So currently we are working in sort of two parallel directions that are kind of bridging and overlapping sometimes. So we have, as I said, I have a research team that's working with me. So I've divided the work into, curriculum investigation and then industry and actual technology investigation. So from time to time, we will have overlapping and basically feeding each other's findings. But essentially, most of the tasks are sequential. Some of them are conducted in parallel, and hopefully we'll have the project implemented and final reports delivered by end of March or April next, in 2 years, 2018. Thank you very much.